Hey, welcome to episode 705 on the Sales Podcast. I'm having Ed Latimore back. He was here a couple of years ago. He is the author of a new book. It's going to be coming out this fall. Um, Hard Lessons from the Hurt Business: Boxing and the Art of Life. He was a professional boxer, 13-1-1, got a physics degree, and is popping off on social media. He's got over 200,000 followers on Twitter. He's now monetizing his YouTube channel in very short order, doing over $10,000 a month and growing. And he's got great lessons on life, on business, on marketing. He's a coach. He's got a good newsletter, just a wealth of information. We talk a bit about his kid. He's a new father, well, a couple of years now, and how that has affected his life. He and his wife, they've actually become more efficient, more effective, more profitable. Like the old adage is, if you want something done, give it to a busy person. So you're in for a treat as Ed comes back. If you to learn his whole story, go back episode 584. Where was he? I have my notes here. Yep, 584, back in October of 2022. To get his backstory, we talked a little bit more about his boxing and whatnot. But with his physics background, with the science mind, we get into how he has dissected the algorithms, how he is growing now. So you're going to want to pay attention, take some notes, and then follow him online. Follow me online. If you want to get more done as well, check out my 12 Weeks to Peak program. It's a free habit tracker, 12weekstopeak.com. Go sign up, print the sheets, keep them in front of you, then you become more effective yourself. Now let's get on with the show. Ed Latimore is back in the house. Had you on episode 584 back in October of 2022. But a few things have changed, like adding a kid to your life, huh? So welcome back to the Sales Podcast, man. How the heck are you?
Great. If it was October 2022, that was like, we thought he was going to be here around Halloween, but he took a sweet time like everything he does in life now. It did show up until November 18th, so that would have been like,
Oh my
right.
gosh.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She was so late, in fact, so we used the midwife center, and they were like, yeah, so we're not going to tell you what to do either way. Just know that we don't deal with anyone over 42 weeks. So you'll have to go back to the OBGYN until she got induced.
Oh, yeah.
That's why it was huge.
We induced all but our first. He came early, but we still don't know, man. Because my wife had some issues, so we're not quite sure when he was technically due. They said he was 5 or 6 weeks early, but he was 6 pounds 2 ounces. I'm like, I think he was like 2 weeks early, But
No,
yeah,
we
we had another one 360 days later. So
wow, Irish
then
twins.
we had 3 under 3. We had 2 under 1, 3 under 3, 6 under 10 or 10 and under. So
yeah, you know what it. All right, yeah, that's why I don't. I was like, I don't know what the spacing is, but I'm not going to complain too much. Because I just know it could be way more challenging. And that's something I think about too. And it was I was writing my book, and I had to kind of work through some issues in my own life that I hadn't really thought about. But that there's two of us here with a stable income and like love and not as many issues. And I just think about how ridiculous things are for my mom. It was just her and her 2 kids. And I don't even know how you. Oh, that's right. You didn't work, or you tried to. We got babysat by crackheads and child abuse. So like, it's that kind of thing, man. It's the 2-parent household is the best gift you can give your child, and we got the numbers to back that up. Like, when you remove, I've been looking for this study to find it again because I wanted to cite it and make a video about it. But like, if you look at 2 people at the same income level, and they did this by looking at one in the inner city and one it was rural, and it turns out like when in the real world, not like statistical analysis, when you adjust for income, every disadvantage that poverty bestows on someone disappears when you have a supportive family unit. It's not so much that being poor makes your life dooms you to a rough life. It's that the type of life that tends to make people poor leads to a rough upbringing for a child. And then that reverberates throughout the rest of their life. There's research out there they know now, for example, that the poorer your parents were, the more likely you are to be poor as an adult. And they measured this by looking at tax returns of a generation and then of their children. And they're able to very clear, powerful effect. If you start out with money, not even with money. If you start out like middle class, you don't really, people don't slide backwards. Is pretty much what the takeaway is. It's very hard to slide backwards. And if you don't get in trouble with the law, it's like impossible. Like it just doesn't happen.
Right.
But even if you make a climb from like I was born like below the poverty line. This was like in the 90s, not today. And even if I make move up 2 levels of or add a zero to my year income that my parents had, I'm still below the poverty line. So it's like, it's a rough go.
Yeah. Yeah. I heard somebody say, having two parents is a cheat code for life.
It's such a big deal that it's kind of like, look, I'm not really. I mean, we've interacted online about different things. Generally speaking, I am at the very least in the most or the least conservative way possible. We could say I am conspiracy theory resistant. I don't outright dismiss anything because our wonderful CIA every few years comes out and says, you know what, we did that shit. You were right. So that's happened enough to where I don't dismiss anything, but I'm resistant and I look for evidence. And if it contradicts the facts, it doesn't pass the smell test. I'm like, all right, we got to work for something. But with the research we have now, what we know about the advantages of a strong nuclear family, I tend to lend a little more credence, maybe not to the direct goal of dismantling the family. Maybe that I don't think that was the direct goal, but I think the incidental outcome absolutely was to create an environment where there aren't both parents in the home for whatever reason, whether it's because and they're not taking care of them constantly. So whether that's creating a cost of living where you need childcare or making divorce easier or making relationships less stable in general, so you don't even get to the marriage part, you just split. I think there are some incentives for some things that happen to line up with the outcome or happen to contribute to the outcome where like we are not building stable families. And we know that matters a lot more, like so much more than anything else you could give a kid. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's I don't consider myself a conspiracy theorist, but I've seen the joke. It's like, what's the difference between the conspiracy and history? It's about 6 months.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of things have come true.
It really shouldn't be that way. And that's why I never call them crazy. Sometimes they say some things where I'm like,
there are some crazies.
What my issue with the conspiracy theorists are, like straight up, and you're a scientist, so you appreciate this. I hate non-falsifiable claims. I hate things just made on a whim. Statements made in the one with no evidence, and I really hate when people don't corroborate sources, maybe not directly, but at least see how this lines up with other things. Those things take energy. So I get why people don't do them. Because it's in our nature to seek as I say in physics, the most energy efficient configuration. that applies to life, thinking, as well as mechanical or electronic systems. That's how it goes. But that's my beef is, these guys shout out something, and then if it's right, they're like, told you. And I'm like, look, man, just because a broken clock is right twice a day doesn't mean we start using it to tell time. Otherwise, we're going to find ourselves in many bigger problems. So that's why I never just outright dismiss something or anything, because look, oh, you miss something. And you make it, if all you got to do is call somebody crazy, and that's enough to dismiss them, then you've done nothing different than what they were doing, just applied the other way. You made a grandiose claim with no evidence, and you're using it to silence a counterclaim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I, on the intro to this, I'll reach back or, remind everyone of our first interview. But I mean, your background is in physics, right? You got a degree in physics.
Yeah.
You were a professional boxer, Pete. So if you're listening to this thinking, what the hell are these two guys talking about? So we're reminiscing, ruminating on a few things. But, to bring it full circle into sales, since this is the sales podcast, what you're saying applies to everything. When you're talking with somebody in business, they may have their own conspiracy theories, right? And it's not necessarily a conspiracy theory. It's a preference. It's, we already have a CRM. Oh, we already have a sales coach. Oh, we already have an accounting software. Oh, we already have an ERP. So we come with our own biases, right? And then we're tired. Like we were talking before we hit record, you've got a kid now, 2 years old and 2.5, right?
Yeah, almost 2.5.
Almost 2.5.
Not quite. He's like 2 and some change. That's what I said.
2 and some change. 2.25. Born in November, right? 2.25.
Yeah.
So we get tired, right? We're tired. We're busy. We're worried. Kid's sick. Mom's sick. You're sick. I mean, things happen. Like, oh, hell, here's a phone call. Hi, how are you? Whoa, we pull the phone back. Why did I answer this phone? Right? So we've got to understand human nature, so maybe rewind this and understand how you can unpack this. Because I'm always saying, the old Robert Collier adage, we must enter the conversation going on in the mind of the prospect.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you're debating someone on Facebook or Twitter or trying to sell them something, even on coaching, right? I can't tell you how many times people hire me and they don't freaking do what I say. Like you, how you probably taught some kids box. Hey, show me some moves. And you show them some moves. They're like, no, I'm going to do it this way. You're like, well, good luck, kid.
Yeah, it's so interesting because what we're doing. Okay, so what is marketing? Marketing is just a subset of communication. And it's a subset with a specific intent to get someone to take an action. Okay. Yeah, I won't say take an action. That's sales. The marketing is to build awareness. And then that awareness makes it easier.
It could be an action. Right? I mean, you talk about a call to action. So the marketing could be, hey, click here for more information, send us your email. So that's fine.
Okay. Yeah. So this might feel like an abrupt jump, but I swear I'll smooth it out. What we're trying to do, or one of the reasons I tell people why they should study marketing, even if they are like in the most non-marketing area ever, like maybe a doctor or an engineer, is you've got to understand how to package an idea. If you don't know how to package an idea effectively, it's not going to be transmitted. And if it's not going to be transmitted, you're going to have a lot of problems because the world is still operated and run by people. Got to interact with people. No matter how good AI becomes, there's still a lot of humans on this planet, and we've got to live with them. We've got to work with them. We've got to navigate this space. part of doing that, there are two parts here. First, the productive side, you need to be able to get them to understand you. And you need to understand them. And part of demonstrating that you understand them, I've found, is when you're able to verbalize what they want. That is, you know, if you can do that, you're in a good space. The other way you got to worry, or the other thing you got to be able to do, is you got to know when these tactics are being used on you for nefarious purposes. Everyone's trying to market something, but you got to catch yourself. You got to go, okay, why am I being told this? Why is this being presented this way? Why is the headline biased this way? One of my most recent sponsors, I reached out to them. I just think they're a great product. It's groundnews.com. And what Ground News does is they show you all the different biases and different headlines on the same topic or on the same news story. So you can see how a news story is slanted to the left, how it's slanted to the right, who owns it too, who owns the publication, how many outlets on the left or the right are covering it. And what that has shown me is that no one is even as something as simple as reporting the facts. What happened? Here's what happened. Everyone's got an agenda and a bias. And if you don't stop yourself occasionally and ask, what are we trying to, or what are they trying to accomplish by presenting me the information this way? Then you're already caught. Like if they did, you got twice the job to do, but it's a necessary job because this communication it's amoral. People will use it to do great things and to move people and to get them to take action on things they need to take action on. And other people will use it to make the world burn and to split everyone up and to profit, because the CRM or CPM model means you didn't even got to sell nothing. You just got to get people to click on the page and scroll through. There is a lot here to unpack, but
I got up to get this book, Propaganda. You heard of Edward Bernays?
I didn't. Wow, okay. That looks like the kind of thing I want to read. What is that?
So Edward Bernays was an early, I want to say maybe like right after World War I, forget exactly, but before World War II, because he was instrumental in building up the cause, right? And after World War II, after he was helped build momentum and, fight the enemy. And, you see it still to this day, but like turning Nazis into like guerrillas or, taking away their humanity. So it's easier to hate them and war bonds and everything else. So, but after the war, he's like, what do I do with all this knowledge? Oh, I'll go work for IBM and corporate America and that's really where propaganda began, So he wrote Propaganda. He wrote Crystallizing Public Opinion. Okay.
Oh, these are.
Yeah. So these are old. These are 100 years old, and this one, Falsehoods and War.
Is that him too?
No, this is, I got Arthur Ponsby. I think this guy was, I think he was like a lieutenant colonel. But really interesting. I mean, like you said, this stuff is used against us all the time. It's used against us everywhere. Websites, how they convert, how the doctor greets you, the nurse will come in, hey, sign in, fill out this form, let's get your blood pressure. Okay, come sit in here in the crinkly paper. The doctor will be in a minute, comes in a white robe, all hail the great almighty one. I mean, everything it can be used against us. So, and since we're remote and you can't reach me with your jab, I'm going to disagree with you on marketing. I think sales is the most important, but I think they're two sides of the same coin.
First off, if we were in person, I couldn't reach you with my jab. If I remember right, you're like, what, 6'7" or something, right?
Nah, 6'2".
Why did I think you were huge, man? I thought you were like 6'6", 6'7".
I'm larger than life, man. Yeah, but you're a pro. You'll reach me. All I know is jiu-jitsu. I'll just cover up and I'll run into you and hope you fall down.
But yeah,
we cover that. We do that in self-defense because it's like literally if you're fighting, somebody knows how to strike, because we don't strike, but we talk about how to cover, lead with an elbow and close the distance.
That's
Because,
good. If there's a real practical self-defense component, defending against strikes, because one of the things I always say, and then we'll hop back to the sales and marketing thing. One of the things I always say is if you have to pick one for defending yourself on the street, and you shouldn't fight in the street, you should carry a gun and run, and in that order,
run
and then
first.
run before, run first, because there's a lot on that. I won't even jump down that. Run first.
Yep.
But it's
I
good to
watched
know
your
that.
video on. I want to get into your YouTube stuff, but you had that video about forget the exact title, but your site had the best fight or something.
Tough guys don't fight. Real tough guys don't
tough
fight.
guys don't
They
fight.
do this instead. Yeah, you don't want to. Those encounters, man, like nothing good comes from it. But what I was going to say on the sales and marketing end, you know what it reminds me of? I'm having this discussion with my publisher right now because we're in the sales process. The book is done. I'm all good. I feel great about it.
What's the title? So everybody.
Hard Lessons from the Hurt Business: Boxing and the Art of Life. You can throw the pre-order link in the show notes if you can. Right?
I'm gonna put it.
But so now we're moving into the marketing plan for it. This is what happens when you publish with a house. They got a whole system and team of things, and turns out I was there's one team for marketing and one team for publicity, and I asked him, I was like, what is the difference, right? And the way my editor described it, he goes, that they overlap, but the way what I tell guys is think of marketing as the people who will coordinate and talk to everyone you already know, and publicity for the people who will talk to and coordinate all the people you don't know. And I was like, okay, that works. When you said the sales and marketing thing in the same channel, my mind immediately kind of jumped to that comparison. And it might be kind of confusing if you're following along and trying to map this directly. So don't do that. Just kind of take the idea and then see where I'm going here. But I would go, marketing is to get the attention of people you don't know. And when I say don't know, I mean like you have they have no touch points with you at all. They haven't seen your message. They haven't heard of you before. They are cold. And the selling aspect, that is for the people that are in the ecosystem. They have heard of your message. They have seen you. They walked into the store. It's like I used to sell cell phones. When someone walks into the store, unless it's for a tech issue, they're looking to buy a phone. Like now it's my job as the sales rep to handle that, make it a smooth and profitable transaction or transition or event. There we go. But yeah, that I get. That's how I would look at it, and I wouldn't have had that analogy, a few months ago, but now I do. And it gets confusing because in the first one, marketing is for the people you know, and then in this one, it's for the people you don't, you don't know. So
yeah, well, and people, because they don't really study this, all the typical person would know in business and life, whatever, is a Coca-Cola ad, a McDonald's ad, the Goodyear blimp, well, that's marketing. So they go out on their own and think, well, I have to do that kind of marketing. Oh, no, you don't have $1 billion for a blimp.
right.
You don't have, $100 million for a NASCAR team. So you need direct response marketing. You need to spend $1 on Monday and get $2 back by Friday, when you're a small business. And so that's why I say sales, marketing is just selling in print. Because when I run that ad, when I send that email, when I make that post, I must enter the conversation going on in the mind of the prospect. What am I trying to do? What do I want to make you think? Do I want you to be optimistic and happy and joyful? Yeah, I'm going to run to that. Do I want to make you kind of sad, kind of a slap in the face? Like, why do you suck? Why are you overweight? Why can't you defend yourself? How can you call yourself a man if you can't fight? Oh, yeah. So like, what emotions do I want to elicit? And what actions do I want you to take as a result of that? I mean, most people this direct response marketing, direct response copywriting, people, it's still such a foreign idea for most people.
Yeah, well, it's like a lot of these skills. They don't study them because, well, there are a few reasons, and three come off the top of my head immediately. One, it's just not taught, not in that way.
No.
Occasionally, you will get a student who has a high school course, and they will take persuasive writing, and that's not quite the same thing, but it's directionally moving there. And in terms of proximity, it's a lot closer than a narrative essay, like a lot closer.
Yes.
And the principles and the ideas and how you structure an argument, you know, to this day, I tell people one of the reasons why I feel like I take so strongly to a lot of the internet writing in all aspects, whether it's SEO or copy, is because I tried to take the writing lessons seriously in high school. At the very least, I wanted to get a decent grade and not mess up. And I was a terrible student, but I tried. So there's that. So not taught. Number two, people don't see the value of it, and they don't see the value because there has been a certain type of stigma attached to the idea of sales and marketing. They're like, I don't need to do that. Someone actually tried to insult me one time, and what they said was, if you had been a better boxer, you wouldn't have to sell stuff. And I'm like, that's such a weird thing to say. Like, how do you think you eat? you know, uh, because they had this idea. And so because they have this idea and they put it off, they never touch it. To me, it's the same thing when I hear guys go, yeah, it's, again, some foolish person on the internet. But I've actually had this discussion in person too. They're like, only an uncivilized guy who can't use his words would need to learn how to fight. If you have that perspective about fighting and combat sports in general, why would you ever take the time to learn how to get your body in shape? Now, there it's a little more obvious what the benefits are. Like, I don't need to convince you that you should be in shape, but there's that scare tactic. Well, not scare tactic, but that aversion. So you got never taught, you got see no value, and then there's the last part, which is the person is. I say they don't understand how the sausage is made, right? People don't realize that they think very much tied into what that guy, is saying about if you didn't have to, if you were a better boxer, you wouldn't have to sell stuff. They don't realize that the only reason, no matter what their job is, they have a paycheck and they're paid is because someone sold some stuff. Now, whether a rich person sold a bunch of stuff and now they're funded on grants and philanthropy from them, or the sales department has to continue to turn over revenue for the store so everyone, or the business, so everyone can get paid. They don't realize that selling is really important. Like it's why you eat. There are some like notable exceptions. Like no one has to sell me on electricity. I'm gonna pay that bill, and my problem, if one is even has this problem, is selecting a provider. But even then, they're trying to sell me. But if there's no selection, I just want to make sure I can use my laptop and charge my phone, and the lights are on, and the house is warm. Our furnace went out, and I don't. What part of the country are you in?
Southern California.
Oh, so you don't know nothing about what I'm about to say. About a month ago, we had record cold here, and I'm in the Northeast, so it was already cold. Like our high was like -2 one day.
Mm.
Don't you know? That's the day the furnace decided to stop working.
Mm. Of course.
So it made me think, and then we called a guy, and he got it fixed, and trade's been killing it. We've had to use 2 tradesmen since being in the house, and they're quick and do the job. And it's one of the things like, look, I'm not saying I would have paid like $5,000, but if he had told me it was twice what it was, what the hell was I going to do? It was 55 degrees in the house and getting colder.
Well,
now,
I mean, we have the opposite, right? It'll be 108 in the summer and the AC goes out. So,
that's right. Yeah, you guys
same
got to
idea.
deal with that. But yeah,
I mean,
those are the main
at least you
reasons.
can start a fire when you're cold, you know?
There's a so
What you gonna do? Once you're naked and throw water on yourself, that's it. Can't do anything else.
that's true, but but those are the three reasons why people don't touch this stuff. They're not they or don't appreciate it. They're never taught it. They have a negative stigma towards it, and they don't realize that it makes everything go round. So they ignore it, or they think it's something they don't need to know. And it's like, trust me, you will. It. I put it like this: you can probably put together a life where you never actively need to work on the sales component of your we'll call it skill stack. But if that's the case, and obviously there's no knock about what I'm about to say, you're likely highly skilled to the point where like it would be an opportunity cost, or someone has a much better relative advantage to handle that for you. We're talking like your doctors, surgeons, your pilots, um, law enforcement type deal, like people who are serving a function that like we don't really need to sell them. Your electrical engineers working on that power line, or you're on the other end of it where you're just subbing your time out for money and you're cool with that. But in the middle ground, sales skills will make a difference.
Yeah. Well, and you're doing something right. I'm checking out all of your social media. 209,000 followers on Instagram. I'm sorry, on Twitter,
Twitter.
X. Your YouTube, I've been following you. That's been taking off.
I'm really having a lot of fun with YouTube.
I can tell.
Man. So I cut my teeth on Twitter. That's where I built everything up. That's where a lot of people discovered who Ed Latimore is, and I played that game very well. It helped me.
Starting when? Like how long ago?
I don't know when I got the account exactly, but I know I was taking it seriously about 2014. What's really,
okay, so over a decade. Yeah.
Yeah. I got a decade in this game, and I've fallen for scams. I've been inadvertently part of scams. It's a crazy world, but you learn a lot. And in fact, you learn so much that if your mind works, there's this guy I started interacting with on Facebook. I guess he runs a YouTube agency, and he puts stuff up and we interact. And he's like, a lot of stuff where a guy was just starting the YouTube journey. And I'm like, well, I studied YouTube the way I study and put together everything. Like you're were you meteorology or physics or
Meteorology?
so which is just
which is
specifically applied version of physics. On physics we got to take statistical mechanics. That's what they call it, which is still the same. It's thermodynamics, but you understand what I'm about to say. And you're not the first guy who I've met who's got a high level physical science degree who ended up in the marketing world, because there is something about the type of brain you need to do this stuff and to do it well. And we're going to forget about the intangibles like dedication and the focus. Yeah, you need that to succeed in everything. And there's obviously a certain level of raw intelligence. But what I would imagine, just when I think about what's made me kind of have an advantage in this social media space, is it's not just math. There's a lot of math. But you also need to be an excellent communicator, and you need to break down ideas, and you need to write well. And you need to blend those things. You can't just have one part of of an experiment, where the calculations are on point, and another part where you've written this beautiful prose. Like, no, you got to blend it, and you've got to accomplish the goal. You got to argue your point well, and it kind of makes you a little more resistant to any type of biases, because you learn to see right through facts and look at stats, all the great stuff. So all of this comes together, in sort of a way that communication, whether it be written or spoken, has to blend with what works great for the algorithm. And when I say algorithm, we're actually going to sub out algorithm for audience, and we're going to say that because that's really all an algorithm does, is it kind of looks at all the reactions of the audience and makes determinations of what to do with your content. But you want to do it. You don't want to just be a troll. You don't want to just be an engagement baiter, because those type of followers, those don't do anyone good. They don't spend money. They stink the place up. It's just a vanity metric. So you've got to communicate ideas. You've got to be engaging, and you've got to be clear. And if you can accomplish these things and you can do it in a manner that works great for whatever platform you're on, you're golden. And that's really what I figured out. And YouTube is a lot of fun, because YouTube, unlike Twitter, pays you. Pays you right out, right? Like obviously, well, maybe not obviously. You want to.
Twitter pays, don't they? I mean, if you
Man,
got a big enough,
Twitter pays the shit. It's awful. In fact, it's so low. I got a theory about this. So you know why, they don't pay people to donate blood? Because if you did that, you introduce a monetary incentive, and you introduce all the bad things that come with that. Could you imagine if there was a shortage for a blood type, and you knew the homie had that blood type, and y'all was some grimy dudes, and they didn't really ask any, like, you didn't have to sit there, you just had to show up with the blood. Oh, it gets crazy. And then you get people, who would try and shortchange
they do
the
pay
system.
for plasma.
For plasma, yeah, but plasma is, ain't nobody, you ain't, plasma's a serious.
I know people over the years that, I had friends in college, man. I was at A&M, and they'd go give plasma back in 1992.
that plasma, a different animal, man. But yeah, so this is, that's just a theory of mine. But what they did when they started paying people on Twitter, they couldn't pay them enough to attract top talent, but they could pay them enough if they could get enough people to engage. So what it did was it made all the writing on Twitter look the same, because there's not enough user base to diversify the way there is on YouTube. Like, there's a big channel on every niche. Or it ain't like that. There ain't enough people on Twitter. It's not that kind of platform. And the content doesn't live. It's fleeting. So you got a bunch of garbage that's just popped out over and over and over again. Meanwhile, on YouTube, like it's great if a video pops off immediately. But if you do it right, it's just going to kind of sit there and keep earning in the background. And people keep finding it and viewing and discovering you. I have a lot of fun with YouTube. I've connected and built a very new audience. People who don't look, I'm not big, but I have more we'll call it brand awareness and recognition of me than the average person. And there's a whole slew of people on YouTube who don't have any idea who I am. My YouTube, my Twitter and Instagram are growing because people are finding me who have never heard of me. And it just creates, sitting in front of a camera talking, people see your face, they can hear your intonation. I love writing. Writing is how I built my website up. I built my Twitter. But this video thing it's something I tell every writer they need to do. In fact, I have a wait list now for a program where I'll just going to go over to the not three things, but 3 sections you need to master and understand. And you don't need to do any fancy edits. You've seen my videos. I don't edit for shit. I've got to do editing in this next one because I got a sponsor for it. But that's just to put the sponsor clip up. It's not for my part.
Right.
So yeah, I just wish more people, if you already have enough to say to where you have a body of work and you can build a following somewhere else, because that's mainly what I'm talking to in the program, then you're valuable enough to reach another audience with something else. And it's not that's why they don't call YouTube social media. It's not really social media. It's something else. It's like Netflix that's a search engine. But I guess Netflix is a search engine too. In fact, what's crazy, because now I'm in the YouTube world and I'm studying all these stats. People are watching YouTube hours. They're in terms of YouTube hours of 2024, Netflix was second, but close, very close. It wasn't a blowout. And then people aren't watching stuff anywhere else, like YouTube, Netflix, and then bam. Most of us can't get on Netflix, but anyone can get on YouTube.
Yeah. So where did you study, or I mean, did you buy courses? Did you just go deep down rabbit holes and start
Oh
piecing
man,
things together?
I did the whole nine. I think the first thing I spent money on was this guy's course about like creating good videos, like nice videos when I thought I needed to edit. And plus I had no idea what equipment to buy. Like I didn't know anything about sound or cameras or anything like that. So I had to start there and learn. And then after that I tried to make some videos where I was just reading my content that I had already written. That doesn't work. That people that nope. But I learned it doesn't work, you know? And then I started really digging into what was available on YouTube because what's Denzel Washington say in Training Day? A good narcotics agent has to know and love narcotics himself. I'm just all right. So I'm saying like, and a good YouTuber has to know and love YouTube. So I start looking in the I just start looking and seeing who is saying what. And what you learn is that how to grow on YouTube is a great niche. A lot of people have grown their entire channel teaching people how to grow on YouTube by making videos about how to grow on YouTube. And then they say, look at my following. And I'm like, bro, that's a pyramid scheme. Like in the purest sense of the word, that's a pyramid scheme. You can't be like, all right, do this thing that I'm doing to get this result, and you'll get exactly this result, but it's in the same thing. Because the way the algorithm works, people are looking for how to grow on YouTube. So if you just keep popping out videos about it, you'll grow. You ever see 8 Mile at the end of 8 Mile when he's like,
I just
pay
rewatched
attention,
it like 2
yeah,
months ago.
and he says in the battle rap, then pay attention, meathead. You're saying the same shit that he said. Like everybody is saying the same thing. That doesn't mean there aren't some gems in there. And I picked apart the ones that actually made a difference and the ones that didn't. But then, because people are lazy, no one's done this. At least no one's made a video about it. I went and did it. There's this free resource out there. It's a white paper that YouTube put out where it talks about the recommendation out engine and how it's selected and how it works. A little math heavy. Certainly will intimidate someone who is looking for an easy, here's what you need to do and here's how it works. Because it ain't that simple. But you go, I sat down and looked at it and I figured out, okay, I now know why and how a video pops off. And I can map that out. And so now when it like the video I put out last night, I was trying something different, but I took one look at the length and I said, this may eventually blow up, but it's not going to come out the gate like gangbusters. I'm not going to have 10,000 views on it in 3 days, which is a pretty good.
Was it too long or too short?
Too short. Because one of the things that YouTube is very clear about that it's trying to do, that it actively selects for, that people would know if they actually read the damn paper instead of guessing. YouTube is selecting and ranking for content that keeps people on the platform longer. That's why one of the main statistics they give you in your dashboard is average view duration. That matters a lot more than average view percent. But if you can keep a person on average on a piece of content for 8 or 9 minutes, it's going to be very hard to beat you. You're going to get pumped out to the algorithm. And when I say beat, I mean that purely. Creators don't like to hear this, but this is the truth. It's zero sum. If someone watches my video, they're probably not going to watch yours. It's that simple. Okay? And so your game is to get recommended and constantly get popped out. One of the things that matters, if not the thing that matters most, even more than click-through rate, is average view duration. I noticed that if my video is less than 12 minutes, there's a much smaller chance it's going to do well. And if it's small, and if it's shorter than 10, I just charge that one to the game. Like this, the video I put out last night is like 9:53, and I was like, just charge it to the game. Like if it does great, but I'm not expecting it to. But my best performing videos, you can look at the timestamps, 19 minutes. And when a video is that long, assuming you do well with the writing and the presentation, then you get an AVD of like 9 or 10 minutes. And that's average, which means there are a lot of people who are watching through to the end. that's a very powerful signal to YouTube. That
How
matters so much.
important is
Huh?
artwork?
Okay, so this is actually what I'm testing right now. Because if you've been looking at the channel, you noticed I went from my high concept, high concept thumbnails, and I want to get to some simple. Here's my face with an image over, or with some text. In general, you can't go wrong with a thumbnail that stands out. Because again, we're talking zero sum. If my thumbnail is put up against 3 other ones, and you look at my one about the poverty, you look at that design, and that's not just the color and the AI, but there's also the image placement, the rule of thirds, the way we're playing with lighting. It's very intentional. And look, I'm not the art dude. I learned all this stuff in the past 6 months, and I'll continue to learn. But those are principles that make things look good. They work. But how much does it matter? Yeah, that's really important, especially when you're getting traction. Initially, when your channel's new and you don't have a set of subscribers that are going to come to pump up your AVD. You got to get people to look at your video no matter what. Okay. Now I can pull back a little bit in the video, like the 27 lessons from being, turning 40 video. That's doing pretty good right now. And that's got the same kind of thumbnail. But I also at that point had like 22,000 subscribers, and I can see in my my metrics and what is it called, dashboard, my creator studio, that 1,000 of them have bell notifications turned on. So immediately I'm going to get this surge. When you're first starting out, you got to win that click. You should always try and win that click. My next few ones, after going through it and seeing how it works, how it's worked out, I'm just always going to go after that, at least where I can. A lot of times I want to forward it for speed because I'm working with a guy. I wish I had the skill to create that way. I'm very good with words, and I can tell him what to do and make sure we get the principles in place. But his process is gold. He's actually teaching a module in the I guess seminar or workshop I'll be putting on, where he goes over how he does it. I don't think he's going to give out the secret sauce method we use for mom, but the general process for what we do. He's covering that. So I'm really big. There's kind of like you want to get the big general principles and then learn to specifically apply those. And you pick those up from being on social media, and other platforms, because all the algorithms, no matter what type of content they're serving, they're trying to accomplish the same thing: keep you on the platform as long as possible. It just so happens that YouTube pays you when it does this, and they can measure it very precisely. That's something you can't do with written content. You can see exactly when a person leaves and bounces, and calculating average and stuff like that. So it's a good time. It's really, really fun. The problem is just complex enough to where it's going to where it rewards people who will take the time to understand it, but not so difficult that you're going to be sitting there going like, man, what the fuck, man? Like some things that's just hard. It's hard and it's not complicated. It's complex. So you can't even figure out the proper correlation between the inputs and the outputs. So you're sitting there trying to figure out what to do. Now, YouTube is, I say, just complex enough to weed out people who aren't going to do it. And, and there's some great stats. Like I think there's something like 61 million active channels, they said, and of those channels, only 2 million are monetized, meaning they reached the metric of 4,000 watch hours and 1,000 subscribers in a 365-day period. Yeah, that's significant. Like 4,000 watch hours is, well, now that doesn't feel like a lot, but when you're first starting, that makes a big difference. That's hard, but it's a bit kind of difficult. It forces people to learn and be serious. YouTube's not just letting anybody in a partner program, but it really is awesome, man. Like Like it really is. And I can see the future because right now, what YouTube has done, I'm going to make a post about this. It's completely changed how I look at myself and the things I'm doing. One of the things it did is it's humbling because I got this following on Twitter, and a lot of people from Twitter might know me, but here I'm a nobody. And YouTube is big. It's the second biggest search engine in the world, and it's owned by the first biggest. Okay. So growing there is huge. So many people on that site. This is going somewhere. I had to catch my train of thought again. And what I was going to say is that I'm anticipating as I grow, especially as I do interviews ahead of the book tour and more people discover me, this content is going to just continue to pay and keep pumping out. Like right now, I mean, there hasn't been a day now, like in the past month almost, every day for the past month, I've made at least $100. And that's not like change your life money, but that's all of my monthly expenses on passive. Like, so back what I was saying earlier, I don't know if this part was recorded, but we were talking about it a little bit before the call. What it's done is it's allowed me to consolidate all of my efforts. I don't have to worry about content marketing. I don't have to worry about making money. I can combine those two things. Oh, and by the way, it's pushing up pre-orders for my book. So I have all of these things are kind of put to one stone. Yep. It's growing my mailing list. It's growing my other social media. All this to say, look, man, I'm singing praises, man, but you can't. YouTube it's one of the technologies that is life changing, and it's easier to net. Like there are still idiots in the comment section, but like it's not as bad, I guess. Twitter and Facebook are weird
Crazy.
animal, yeah. But I think it's because it's that video format that it's a good time.
Do you have a specific cadence? Like, are you trying to do one video a week, two a week, or do you, whenever when it strikes you,
Well, I'm consistently inconsistent is the best way to put it. No, in all seriousness, that's probably not the best way to describe it, but we'll see. So what I try to do is put together the best video I can. To me, that means a well-written script that, and yeah, we'll just say well-written script, so I don't have to dive into the details. Just know that it's not as simple as writing an essay. There's a way to bring people in and keep them there, and anybody listening to this who knows YouTube will understand how cool it is with my style video. Right now, my average for retention of the 30% mark is 76. That is really nice. Like, that's cool. That means that of every 100 people that watch the video, 75 or 76 of them are still there at the 30-second mark. And that's a pretty good deal because that's where you lose the most. So you got to make sure you hit the intro, bring everything together, time the facts the right way, put any calls to action properly so that people take the action you want them to take in the video. All that takes a little more work than I was expecting because before, like I was saying earlier, what I tried to do was just read my old essays. Doesn't work. And then I was like, let me just try and redoctor them for YouTube. What I found is that I had my laptop is that it's less effort to just write from scratch than it is to try and jury rig something from one format to another. And I have fun because it's just another writing process. And it's very much like I'm talking, but I know I'm giving a presentation and I know what I'm trying to accomplish with the presentation. The other cool thing is that seeing the feedback I'm getting about the presentation and the way I presented and spoke, I know what I'm doing is working and people really appreciate the way that the story's told. So yeah, is there a process? What process? Is there a cadence? There's not a cadence, But I know that if I want, because the cool thing about the monetary aspect is I want to keep that going. Plus, um, if someone's just watched the video on your channel, they're more likely to watch another one. That's just how the algorithm's going to pop up and show them. So I got to make sure I stay. I don't go more than 7 days in between a video now at this point, especially now that my process is down. The only exception is like if it's a really detailed essay, like good one, that I like the next one I'm gonna put out, and I haven't got the thumbnail idea, and I gotta give that to my guy to work on. I'll wait for the thumbnail, and sometimes that'll take a little while. And by a little while, I mean like 3 to 4 days, because he's good to work with. He takes the idea, he tries to get it, then he's like, okay, how can we tweak this, move it around? As I learn things, I'm telling him what to do. And then once I get that, then I take it in Canva and I lighten up. I change some of the lighting and the contrast to make sure it pops. Because remember, we're in this is a zero-sum game. If you're going to put my thumbnail against a few other videos, I need to win the click. Because the difference of 1/10 of a percentage point, that's all, that can make a huge difference.
Yep.
Huge difference, especially when we're still talking about your impressions in the 6 figures, 100,000 impressions. It's a pretty big difference. That's a difference between 1,000 impressions or 500 people coming and watching. And let's say, the average view percentage is 50. So we're talking getting like 25 to 50 more people who will watch the whole thing through to the end.
Okay. So I hear what you're saying, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I would encourage anyone listening or watching this to get started.
Yes.
Right? Because all those finer points could freeze somebody and they'll never launch a video.
That's very true. You're exactly right.
Okay. Because now you've got your feet under you, and now you refine. I'm always just pushing people out the door, like go, figure this out on the fly, because you'll never start.
Because and I keep some of the old videos up. Some of them I take down just because I know enough now to be like, oh, that idea didn't work, not because it was a bad idea, but because I didn't present it well. But I keep the other videos up because, yeah, you're right. Like, I had to just go start to realize how bad I was.
Yeah.
And then I had to go, okay, I can't, because I'm sitting there and
anything we've ever done, we sucked at the first time we did it.
And I'm like, I have faith in myself. I'm like, all right, man, I got all these people on my mailing list. I know the content's good. People like what I'm talking about, but I'm just not kicking it over here. What's wrong? Let me go learn and see what I can improve. But getting started is important. But here's the thing. When you get started, you don't want to just be making a video for the sake of making a video every time and not getting better. You got to look at it and go, okay, what can I improve? And the only way to do that is you got to be a consumer of content so you can see what is working. If you're trying to create in a vacuum, good luck. There's no way you can do it, really.
Yeah.
You need, unless you just come out the gate, you're just super talented, but that's not going to happen.
I have people, so I've got my 12 Weeks to Peak program, and it's just a free habit tracker. But one of the things I make them do is make a video every day. I tell them, just make a 1-minute video, right? Because I want them to start. Because it's hard. Most people, when that red light goes on, they freeze.
Yeah.
Right? Probably like the first time somebody gets in a boxing match, right? Hey, step in the ring. Woo! I see new people every week in jiu-jitsu, and like, okay, let's roll. I'm like, grab me. Do
let's
something.
Go.
Like, oh, but I don't know what to do. Do something. So I tell all the new guys, it's like, I'm bigger, I'm more experienced, I'm going to wreck you. Your only chance is to move. Surprise me, get going. Push me back, yank me down, try. Don't just sit there and take it. but they freeze. So I want people taking action.
Yeah. That's the meta lesson right there. Yeah, don't get caught in the weeds that I just delivered. Now, at some point, hopefully sooner than later, you're like, okay, I got to get my foot in the weeds. But before that, thinking all that
Yes.
matters, because that honestly is what hurt me. Thinking I had to get in there and know how to work Photoshop and Final Cut Pro and all this stuff. And no, but once I did it, and I still did try and do it that way, but that was the only way I could go, all right, this isn't efficient. There's got to be a better way to do this. Right. So like at the end of the day, you got to start. You got to start and have something good, or not have something good, but do something.
Yeah. Well, I'm linking out to everything. Everything you got is Ed Latimore except YouTube, and it's Ed Latimore, the number one.
Yeah, because someone took it. I don't know what the hell happened.
Yeah.
I'm gonna see if I can get it. Somebody told me what to do about that.
There's some, I don't know, kid or something that has the sales whisperer, and I could go take it because I've got the trademark, but oh well, I haven't sweated it. All right. Well, your book comes out when?
August 5th.
Wow, it's taken a while. Okay, well, I'm linking to it already on Amazon. Hard Lessons from the Hurt Business: Boxing and the Art of Life. You've got a newsletter, right? Do you offer like individual coaching? Do you have courses? How can people get more of you?
Yeah, so I have coaching, and I'm a hands-on in there kind of guy, man. Like, which is why I don't take on a lot of people, because it takes a lot. Because typically, what I'm working with people on is transformation, and I know that's like a generic word, right? So more specifically, we're looking at where you're at, because you have a problem and you're like, here's this problem. Whatever that problem is, whether it's an addiction issue, or standing up for yourself, or even trying to work with people at work. I'm just thinking of guys that I work with. And what we realized is that, like, okay, so there might be a tactical fix for this, but that's often very short, and it requires you, or short lived, and it requires you to memorize and to stay vigilant. Instead, what we need to do is look at why you think this way, why you approach problems this way. And it was likely a good reason at some point. Look, and one of the things I take from addiction is that every bad habit served you at some point until it was a good habit until it was a bad one. Now good is subjective, but whatever, right? And then what we're trying to do is get you to think and work like a new person, like a person who is capable of understanding the situation, of diagnosing it, of moving through it. It's way more, in my opinion, frictionless to think of yourself as someone who is trying to reach the best possible, or try to make your environment as harmonious as possible, for example, than it is to figure out how to get along with this one person. It's much better to think of yourself and to learn to work and be a curious person than it is to try and figure out, how am I going to talk to these people? Well, you don't need like one thing is like, here are some icebreakers. Another thing is making you genuinely interested in your fellow man, and figuring out how we're going to cultivate that. And more importantly, figuring out kind of why you aren't, and if you are, why you don't act on it, kind of deal. So that's the deep dive level stuff. And I'm happy you asked me about this, because I've been revamping this part of what I offer to put it in kind of a concrete, tangible offer. Because a lot of people just want to talk to me because they're like, oh, here's a guy that did this stuff. That seems like a guy I should talk to. And I'm like, all right, how are we gonna do this? And to my credit, very good at diagnosing and figuring things out, but that marketing and sales aspect, how do I put that into a message that gets the attention? So I've been really working on that, and I realized the crux of Ed Latimore, what the story is I've continually been able to transform, to move from what I was to what works now, and to change my thought process, my approach, my mental models along the way.
Yeah. Very cool. All right. I'm also linking to your site. So it's edlatimore.com. It's with one T, huh?
One
I
T,
didn't realize.
yeah,
I guess is two T's is more popular because that's what
way
popped
more
up first.
common. Yep,
Okay.
way
Yeah.
more common. In
One
fact,
T.
when I meet somebody with one T, there's a pretty good chance they're related.
Well, that's like mine with Schaefer. It's as long as you can spell it, right? People leave the C out. They leave the first E out. They leave the F out. Like, no, 9 letters, Schaefer. So I'm kind of the same way. I don't see too many Schaefers. So
What is
same
that?
kind of thing.
Schefer.
FFER.
Well, yeah. So there I go, and I know Schaefer, and so two Fs.
2 F's. And you got a birthday coming up, huh?
Yeah, Saturday, man. Be 40. That's crazy to me.
Big 4-0.
You know,
So,
I'm just happy I'm here.
so how does that work? Since it's like right after Valentine's Day, you still got to be nice on the 14th, and then she's
Nah,
got to be nice on the 15th.
because of that. I mean, that's my excuse. I never wanted to think about it anyway. You know. Now, with that said, I have an amazing woman in my life. I'm grateful every day. I ask myself multiple times a week how this happened, because yeah, and so like, no, if she wanted, look, if she decided tomorrow she wanted to, I don't think it'll happen. We've been battling the flu, but the babysitter is here tomorrow, so if she wants to go somewhere, we'll go somewhere and shit. And I know, like, I don't know what she's doing, but I know she's gonna do something nice for my birthday, because that's just the type of person she is. Yeah, I'm grateful, man. Like,
Well, I mean,
I'm actually gonna make a video about this soon. People are like, you got to talk more about relationships, and I'm like, I guess there ain't a lot of guys. I mean, there are, but I think there's a lack of positive relationship content there. Everybody focuses on the doom and gloom of things because that stuff is engaging and get stuff. But one of the cool things about YouTube, I'm learning, a lot of people don't know this, there's a massive demographic of like people like middle age and up. Like a lot of people leave comments on my photo like, "Oh, I'm a 60-year-old white guy and I felt this," or "I'm a 70-year-old grandma." And I'm like in my mind, just imagining an old person sitting there watching YouTube already is kind of odd to me, just because of the way we grew up with YouTube. But it's a big audience, and what that tells me, though, why I bring that up is while younger guys watch me, it's not as much as you might think, and I can see that in the demographics. It's like the under 25 crowd is my smallest demographic by not a significant but noticeable margin. My biggest one are 35 to 44, which is where I'm at, which makes perfect sense. But
well, my son, he's 26 and he's been pushing me. He's like, "You got to do more video, do more YouTube," and because he's saying, he was being nice about it, but it's like, the old gray hair guys, people want to hear from dudes
yes,
that've been around the block. I think there's like, I'm realizing there's this void, this dearth of wisdom. I mean, people aren't stepping up,
because
and the younger people are like, they're looking around like they don't have role models.
yeah, it's a weird place, and your son is right. Look, because you've been alive, people just want to hear real stuff. Like, that is what I've found. That's what oh, I can't think of it any other way. If you look, some of the guys, like, what's his name? I think it's like Dry Rainbow Creek School or something like that. It's just this old guy.
Who is he?
I think it's like Dry Creek Wrangler School or something like that. Is the name of his channel. But yeah, he's got like 4 million subs because he's just giving advice to guys. And look, I'm looking at my audience demographics right now. I'll tell you exactly. This for the past 28 days. The under 18, the apparently like 0.1% between 13 and 17, but 18 to 24 is 7.6 are the ones who watch. But my biggest demographic, 25 to 34, and then everyone else is like even, like between 19 and 16%. 35 to 44, 45 to 54, 54, 55 to 64, and 65 plus. Like these people are on YouTube. I've got a lot of views, so this is not like a small sample size. So I'm gonna co-sign what your son is telling you, and I'm gonna push you as well. You should hop on because I don't know. I'm sure there's somebody out there, but I know there ain't. You're unique kind of combination. You got 7 kids, and you're in Air Force and sales and meteorology. Like you picked up all of these. You've lived a rich life, and you've got something to really show for it that's positive. And I think a lot of people are looking to try and do. I don't know if there's like an overcorrection in terms of people trying to go do the whole family thing now, and start it. But I know there's the elders in our society. At least when I was a millennial coming up, I'm still a millennial, but you know what I mean. They weren't there. But now we can access them, and that the world needs guys like you. It ain't even, and we're not even talking about what it would do to any business. Like, like just the credibility alone of you hopping on, with who you are, and what you say, is that there's a demographic that would dig it. It's crazy. You speak to that, and you speak to that demographic, whether they're looking to you as a role model to learn from, or as a guy to relate to. Because remember, 15, 16%, what are you, 53?
54.
54. I knew it was 54 to 52. I couldn't remember. So like that's a big demographic on my channel. But my biggest demographic are the guys in my age range. So there's people out there looking for somebody like that. So
Cool, man. Well, it's good catching up with you. I'll be promoting your book, linking out to you, watching the videos.
yeah, I got a bunch coming because now I got sponsors, which is nice. There's another great little income source. Like really, in the month of January from YouTube alone, I think I made almost 10,000, and
Nice.
and that's a combination of ad revenue and sponsorship. So, and that's only going to rise. Like I'm really just getting started. You could see it in my subscriber count.
How does that work with sponsorship and then with YouTube? Because like if you monetize the show, then YouTube is inserting their own commercials, right?
Yeah.
Throughout the sessions. So let's say you've got a 20-minute video. Are you doing a plug like right in the beginning for your sponsor? Or,
So different sponsors will have different requirements, but generally speaking, a sponsor is going to want you to plug them within the first 5 minutes.
And you then, just kind of do it seamless? Would you say, hey, I'm going to talk about, the best fighters don't fight, and hey, this is brought to you by, ABC, Gatorade, whatever, and on with the show?
So the short answer to that is the good ones will do it seamlessly, the bad ones won't. But ideally what you want, and I can see the drop, and it's just this little, like there's the retention grab, and then there's this dip, and then it goes back to where it is, because people are skipping past the sponsored post, but they don't mind, but it also works, and I can see the click-through rate on stuff. So it's good because what the sponsor gets is they get linked up with a dedicated person with an audience who's going to talk about their product. Like, I'm going to try to, we'll see what the money turns into, but I'm going to try to only, sponsor things that I will use. I'm never going to sponsor anything that I don't that I'm like, yeah, that's kind of weird. I'm not going to,
Yeah, yeah,
but I'd
for
like to
sure.
have experience, with it, and because that keeps everybody honest. And look, if that means turning down some bread, so be it. Because in the long run, I think that's better. So
Yeah, I agree. But I mean, it's easy to say that, but I mean, I've turned down a lot of things that I haven't accepted, but you see people, you see celebrities all the time selling their souls.
oh
So,
yeah, look,
so don't be that guy.
I'm not making any promises. I'm making very strong. I do not intend. Now, if somebody comes along with a $75,000 plug for makeup. Look, man, I'm
Hey, I don't
a,
mind makeup.
I'm gonna
I don't wear
I'm
it.
gonna sit and have a hard talk. I'm gonna be
If you
like,
want to give me 75 grand, I will say, this is nice makeup. Good luck with it.
but
I don't think I'll wear it.
yeah, you end up in this streaming show. But yeah, I'm gonna take off now because I think my pet human is waking up.
I'll go get them. I'm heading to jiu-jitsu, man.
There you go, and enjoy it, man. Thank you
Good to
again for
see you.
having
Happy
me.
birthday.
Thank you. Good to see you.
Hey, I hope you liked that. Covered a lot of ground. I'd never heard of that ground.news, so I looked them up. But check out the show notes. I'm linking out to everything Ed's got. Um, he said every good habit served you until it became a bad habit, right? That's true of everything. It's true of the devil, right? Everything the devil does, he just takes something good and just uses it for bad. Um, so, because things, skills, abilities, items, objects, they're not inherently good or bad, right? But what do you do with them? Splitting the atom, right? It can be a bomb. It can give us pretty clean energy. It can power homes, right? Power ships. So, what do you do with it, right? What are you doing with your own abilities, skills? Do you need help, right? Ed takes on coaching clients. I take on coaching clients. Uh, Avail yourself of smart people, people you can trust, uh, people that can shorten your learning curve, people that can kick your ass. Um, don't go it alone. You'll hear me say it over and over again, right? If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. That's why Jesus sent out his apostles and disciples in pairs. Um, and really, I learned this Navy SEALs doing the swim. Slow is smooth and smooth is fast. You've probably been going fast, thinking that's how you got to be. Got to be busy, busy. How's life? Busy, oh, busy, busy. You wear it like a badge of honor, but it's not necessarily correct. Slow down, get some repetitions in, make some mistakes, piece those together, understand how to overcome them, understand why they're happening, how to fix them. Having someone on the outside looking in, a neutral third party with experience, is the best way to learn. I refer to jiu-jitsu all the time. There's every day, literally every day, I learn something new. And it's usually something small, but powerful. Literally, it's when I'm making a mistake and I ask a higher belt, a more experienced person, like, how do I fix this? It is always something small. It's that old story of, the big refinery is shut down and they don't know what to do, and they call the old retired expert. He comes in, he looks around, he listens, grabs his hammer, whacks the pipe, and everything's flowing again. He sends them a bill, for $10,001. He was only there 10 minutes. They're like, $10,001. What? Just to swing a hammer? He's like, swinging the hammer was the dollar. Knowing where to hit, that was $10,000. And there's a lot of truth in that. So who's helping you know where to hit, where to move? Invest in good training, right? Invest in good mentorship, good coaching. I know it sounds self-serving, but I can't help it. It's true. I grew when I hired coaches. I grew and continue to grow by surrounding myself with good people. So invest in yourself. You'll be happy you did. If I can help, hit me up. All right. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I'll go sell something.